In this section, we're going to discuss the concept of jihad. So let's first begin by considering the word jihad. When you ask many people in Western countries, what do you think of when you hear the word jihad, you'll receive many different responses. And here lies the problem. You see, over time, the word has been misused, misinterpreted, misrepresented, so that now, when most people in the West think of jihad, they envisage violence, persecution, atrocities. In fact, many people believe that the direct translation of the word jihad is in fact holy war. Now this couldn't be further from the truth. So how come this is the case?
Well, it's primarily because the word is used repeatedly by the Western press, who either implicitly or explicitly link it to the term holy war. As a matter of fact, the term holy war was coined in Europe during the Crusades and actually referred to the war waged against Muslims by the Crusaders. The term holy war does not exist within the Islamic vernacular. Okay, so what does jihad really mean then?
Well, the Arabic word jihad means to struggle or to strive. So, for a student struggling to get an education and pass their exams, this is their jihad. When a volunteer strives to raise funds for their chosen charity, this is their jihad. Sometimes getting up for morning prayer, especially during the summer months when you're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's my form of jihad. So jihad is in effect any effort exerted by anyone and is generally focused on positive rather than negative outcomes.
Islam is a religion of peace and strives for the welfare and well-being of society and humanity in general. The Quran requires the Islamic nation to enjoin good and forbid evil, and that's in chapter 3, verse 104. 113 of the 114 chapters of the Quran begin with the words Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, which means in the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful.
Now that's not to say that Islam forbids the use of force as a last resort to bring about the greater good or peace. Every country believes in having an army to keep the peace and offer protection and security to its people. The same is true in Islam. It is important to note, however, that even under the extreme circumstances where action may be required, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, laid down strict rules of engagement. We'll take a look at the strict parameters laid down by divine law, should force be necessary.
This very clearly demonstrates that the actions of these so-called Islamic terrorists are in direct contravention of our divine guidance and the rulings specified by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In fact, the term Islamic terrorist is an oxymoron. The two words simply do not belong in the same sentence. Terrorism is outlawed within Islam because Islam abhors any form of oppression.
You may be surprised by the rules of engagement laid down by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It is worth bearing in mind that the modern rules of war, known as the Geneva Conventions or the Hague Conventions, which are guidelines which seek to protect those who are no longer engaged in conflict, such as the wounded, prisoners of war, or most importantly civilians, were first signed by 16 countries in 1864. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, laid down the Islamic rules of conflict more than 1,000 years earlier.